You keep asking why it's so hard, why it hurts, why it feels like you're always behind, even when you're trying. And the answer is simple. They lied to you. They told you that hard work would be enough, that effort guarantees progress, that one day it would click, and from that moment on, things would get easier. But this isn't a fairy tale. This is real life. And in real life, growth doesn't come with applause. Progress doesn't come with comfort. And the path to anything meaningful was never designed to be smooth. The truth is, it was never supposed to be easy. You were supposed to struggle. You were supposed to question everything. You were supposed to be tested, not once, not twice, but constantly. Because without resistance, there's no growth. Without pressure, there's no strength. Without pain, there's no reason to evolve. The reason it feels heavy is because you're carrying something that matters. You're not walking an ordinary path. You're building yourself into something most people never become. And that doesn't come cheap. You don't get greatness on discount. You don't get peace without war. And you don't get to rise without sacrificing the weaker version of who you used to be. This is the truth no one wants to hear. That winning demands more than effort. It demands transformation. And transformation is violent. Not externally, but inside your mind. It strips away comfort. It forces you to confront the parts of you that have been hiding. The laziness, the fear, the indecision. All of it comes to the surface. And most people run from that. They go back to distractions. They search for validation. They tell themselves they'll try again next week, next month, when they're ready. But deep down, they know. They're not coming back. They gave up the moment things got hard. They quit when the process didn't feel rewarding. They wanted results, but they didn't want reality. Because reality is harsh. Reality doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care about how motivated you are. It doesn't care about your feelings, your doubts, your perfect morning routine. Reality responds to execution. It answers to resilience. And it respects those who stay the course, especially when the course has no guarantees. You weren't made for comfort. You were made to build. You were made to suffer forward, to create momentum out of chaos, to keep going when there's no feedback, no approval, and no clear signs of progress. And that takes a different kind of mindset, a mindset most people never develop, because they're too busy looking for an easier way. They think there's a secret, that there's some hidden shortcut that only successful people know about. But there isn't. The only thing successful people have in common is that they didn't stop when it got ugly. They didn't slow down when it got heavy. They didn't give up when it got quiet. They knew something you're just starting to realize. It's not supposed to feel good. It's supposed to work. You don't grow by avoiding pain. You grow by walking through it with your eyes open. Not flinching, not folding, but choosing to keep moving, even when the path doesn't give you a reason to. It's not punishment. It's the cost of building something real. Because real growth never shows up dressed like progress. It looks like boredom. It looks like isolation. It looks like doubt and repetition and frustration. But underneath all that, discipline is forming. Character is being forged. You're becoming someone that pressure can't break. And that's not something you can fake. It only comes from the moments when you're completely alone and still show up. This isn't about motivation anymore. It's about identity, who you are when no one is watching, who you are when it's not fun, who you are when the results are nowhere in sight, and you still choose to give it your all. This is the moment you stop waiting for things to get easier, because they won't. They're not supposed to, and they don't need to. You're not here to wish for less weight. You're here to become stronger. You're not here to find the smooth path. You're here to learn how to walk through fire without losing yourself. Let everyone else look for the easy road. Let them wait for perfect timing. Let them scroll through advice, hoping something clicks. You already know what to do. Get up, lock in, keep building. You don't need it to be easy. You just need to decide it's worth it. The reason most people fail isn't because they're weak. It's because they expect the journey to feel good. They think progress will feel like success. They think improvement will feel like reward, but it doesn't. Real progress feels like nothing is changing. It feels like showing up every day to build something that doesn't exist yet. It feels like silence, no praise, no results, no signal you're on the right path. That silence is what breaks people. They think the absence of reward means failure, so they retreat. They distract themselves. They find new goals, new plans, new shortcuts, but they never finish anything. Because they never learn how to keep going without applause. And if you can't keep going without applause, you will lose. Because greatness is built in private. Your results will be public, but your transformation won't be. That's what no one tells you. No one shows up when it's early, when you're exhausted, when the vision is unclear and your confidence is low. No one comes to push you forward. It's just you, your thoughts, your discipline, your standard. And if your standard is based on how you feel, you will collapse. Because most of the time, you won't feel like doing it. You won't feel strong. You won't feel inspired. You won't feel ready. But that's exactly when you have to act. When your body says stop and your mind says wait, that's when character is formed. Not when it's convenient, not when it's comfortable, but when everything in you wants to delay, and you choose action anyway. You keep thinking you're falling behind. But the truth is, this is how it's supposed to feel. The uncertainty, the discomfort, the resistance. They're not signs that something's wrong. They're signs that you're doing something most people avoid. This isn't punishment. This is the process. And the process is supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to strip away everything soft, everything that doesn't serve you, everything that can't come with you to the next level. You want power? Earn it. You want peace? Build it. You want confidence? Live in a way that earns your own respect. That's what no one can give you. Respect for yourself. You either build it or you don't. And if you don't, it doesn't matter how many motivational videos you watch. It doesn't matter how perfect your plan is. Because if your actions don't match your ambition, nothing changes. You can't think your way into greatness. You have to behave your way there. And that's where most people get stuck, in their own expectations. They think they'll know it's working because it'll feel good. But often, the right path feels worse before it feels better. It demands more than it gives. It drains before it rewards. Why? Because transformation is subtraction first. You don't start by adding habits. You start by removing what weakens you. You subtract excuses. You subtract distractions. You subtract the versions of you that keep breaking promises. And that's painful, because it means killing the identity that's been holding you back, the part of you that prefers comfort over conviction, the part of you that says, maybe later. That version doesn't want to die. It wants to survive. And every time you choose action, that weaker version feels threatened. That's what the resistance is. It's not a sign you're broken. It's a sign you're healing. It's a signal that something inside of you is being replaced. The unreliable you is being replaced by the disciplined you. The anxious you is being replaced by the prepared you. The passive you is being replaced by the relentless you. But that replacement doesn't happen overnight. It takes reps, and not flashy reps, boring ones. The ones no one sees, the ones you don't post, the ones that don't give you a dopamine hit. Those are the reps that matter most, because that's where identity is built. Not through results, but through standards. Your standard is what you do regardless of how you feel. And if your standard is high, your feelings don't stand a chance. They can show up. They can scream. They can try to delay you, distract you, drag you back, but they won't win. Because you're not driven by emotion. You're driven by principle. This is the shift most people never make. They stay in the cycle of needing to feel like it. They wait for clarity. They wait for confidence. They wait for life to feel aligned. But alignment doesn't happen by accident. You align your life by how you move, how you act, how you show up when it's quiet, when it's early, when it's hard. And the ones who last, they don't need perfect days. They don't need outside motivation. They're fueled by who they've decided to become. They don't need a sign to keep going. They are the sign. You want to know if this will work? Ask yourself this. Can I show up for 90 days with no applause, no feedback, no reward, and still give it everything? Because that's what it takes. Not just effort, but endurance, mental endurance, the ability to keep moving through boredom, through uncertainty, through invisible progress. That's what breaks most people. They need proof before they commit. But you commit before the proof. And that's why it's going to work. Because you're not asking for it to be easy. You're just making sure it gets done. You keep waiting for something to change. But nothing changes until you do. That's the truth people run from. They build rituals, schedules, plans. But underneath all of it, they still want life to feel different before they act. They still want the pain to go away. They still want the fear to disappear. They still want the motivation to return. And until it does, they stall. But discipline doesn't wait for clarity. Discipline moves, even in the dark, even when it's not convenient, even when every emotion is trying to pull you backward. And that's the standard you must rise to. Because there are no more secrets, no hidden keys, no perfect moment coming to save you. You've been handed the weight, and now you carry it. You either become stronger or you collapse. Most people collapse, not because they're weak, but because they never built the habit of fighting back. They coasted. They played the game as long as it was fun. But the second it turned silent, the second it turned heavy, they disappeared. This world doesn't reward effort. It rewards consistency. It rewards resilience. It rewards the ones who keep building when no one is watching. And that's the decision you're making right now. To build, not because it's easy, but because it matters. To build, not because you're ready, but because your future demands it. To build, not for a result, not for a number, not for praise, but because this is who you are now. You're not here for shortcuts. You're not here to be liked. You're not here to do it once and call it greatness. You're here to keep showing up long after most people quit. You're here to outlast. That's what separates the few from the many. The few understand that difficulty is not the enemy. It's the filter. It's how life decides who's serious, who's ready, who's willing to endure when there's nothing left to prove except to themselves. And that's who you are now. You no longer need permission to go all in. You don't need conditions to be perfect. You don't need everything to make sense. You've accepted what others deny. That greatness lives on the other side of monotony. That peace lives on the other side of pressure. That clarity lives on the other side of chaos. You don't get those things for free. You earn them. In silence, in solitude, in moments when quitting seems more reasonable than continuing. And you continue anyway. That's where you're headed. Not toward an easier life, but toward a stronger version of you. One that doesn't flinch at adversity. One that doesn't collapse under uncertainty. One that doesn't trade long-term purpose for short-term comfort. You've done that before. You know what it feels like. To lie to yourself. To lower the standard. To promise you'll try again later. You know how empty that road becomes. So now you walk a different one. You don't wait for the pain to end. You walk through it. You don't wait for the doubt to fade. You build in the presence of it. You don't run from the weight. You learn how to carry it. This isn't motivation. This is identity. You've become the kind of person who doesn't need it to be easy. You just need to keep going. That changes everything. Because now you don't fear the hard days. You expect them. You prepare for them. You meet them like an opponent that you've studied. You know their moves. You've felt their force before. And you know how to outlast it. Because endurance isn't a trait. It's a skill. A weapon you've been sharpening every day you showed up when you didn't feel like it. Every time you chose the hard path with no reward. Every time you finished something that no one would ever see. That's the difference now. You don't just have goals, you have grit. You don't just have motivation, You have mastery. You don't just have dreams, you have discipline. And discipline is what wins when the excitement wears off, when the mood fades, when the world forgets. That's when you show up. Not louder, not flashier, but stronger, quieter, clearer. This is what separates those who try from those who become. Not talent, not luck, not timing. Relentless execution in the face of resistance. So if you still feel like it's hard, good. It means you're in it. It means you're alive. It means you're not hiding behind ease or comfort. You're doing what most people never do. You're changing. You're not just chasing success anymore. You're becoming someone who can handle it. And that's rare, because anyone can dream. Anyone can get excited. Anyone can start. But to endure when it's quiet, to show up without applause, to keep building with no sign of progress, that's not common. That's not luck. That's earned. So don't ask for easy. Ask for strength. Ask for clarity. Ask for the discipline to keep showing up, no matter what the world throws at you. Because the path you're on, it's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be worth it. And it will be, if you don't stop.